This video continues a session helping a green rider with his green horse. Observing and analyzing in real time, it becomes apparent just how inexperienced the pair are. Here we're looking not for an end result, but for a good starting point for the rest of their experience together. Here's what we came up with.
But just ride him around and kind of show me what you've got. And don't do anything differently. And if he's looking to do something bad, I'd just as soon he'd expose that so we know what we're dealing with. Okay, now you are very upright, and I know you're an ex-Marine, and the posture is good, but tip your body forward just a tiny bit so that your shoulder, your line should go from, if you drew a plumb line, from your ear to your shoulder to your hip to your heel. That's your line that you roughly want to maintain. So with your body bending back, you were kind of off that line.
Okay. Like this?
Yep, that's much better. Yep. And I'm not going to micromanage that stuff. I'm not an equitation coach, but I did think you were a little bit too far behind your horse's center of gravity.
That was a bad habit I kind of picked up when I was bracing for all of his bucking.
Well, and when the horse if the horse starts to buck, you do whatever helps you save your life. So let's see what happens if you move him into a trot.
He has to do his business first.
Yeah, he's welcome to do that. I see that lush grass has had its effect on him. Yeah, and I like the way you're staying out of his mouth. Is that one of his behaviors there?
He does that. He likes to do that thing.
Yeah. So he'll go and then just sort of see if you can ride him one trip around. Don't overcorrect him. I just want to see what he's thinking is a good idea. So I was a little surprised when he turned into the fence away from the gate. Yeah. Now, that's where I'd mentioned to you it'd be worthwhile investing $5 or $6 in a dressage whip. When he stalls like that, instead of using up your leg aids that you're going to need later in his life, just tap him on the hip until he moves forward and then release him. But I'll be your dressage whip. When he doesn't go, I'm going to give you some forward motion. So just put him in that jog again. There you go. The only bad part is he's reading my mind.
He sees your whip.
Yeah. There you go. Just ride that out. You don't have to lope him, but just let him sort of go until he relaxes a little. And you can just pick up and just gently let him come down to a trot. Don't check him very hard, just sort of pick up. There you go. There you go. Now, ask him to go forward. There you go. Okay, bump him. Nothing's happening. And what you're doing is you're not grabbing his face when he first goes, which is good. Once he goes around even like half a turn, half a lap, just start picking up and let him break down to a trot. There. Now I'm trying to be real neutral. Now you can pick up on him anytime you want and break him down to a trot. Good. Now just pick up on him and let him come down to a trot. We don't want to wear him out. It's a warm day. So I don't want to have him just keying off me, but I want to show him that when he doesn't move for you, you've got reinforcements out here. See if he'll drive past that spot. That's the spot. Now, start planning, because you know that's his spot. So when he's a couple fence panels away from that, be ready and maybe drive him a little faster. There. You see, it's not always what happens, it's what happens before what happens. Drive, 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 drive. Now, when you get past the gate, just pick up on the reins and let him slowly come to a stop. But where we don't want him to stop is over here at his favorite place.
Stopping right here?
That's fine. That is fine. And let's let him blow a little bit. I tell you one thing, Ryan, that will build your seat, because
I used to almost go flying off when he did that.
those sort of unexpected movements, because when you're not asking for it, it's always unexpected. Even if you know it's going to happen, it feels unexpected because he's triggering or I'm triggering him. You did a good job. You know, I knowing how relatively little you've ridden, I figured we'd probably be picking you up off the ground by now. But since it was you, not me, I was okay with that. What you don't want to do with a nice young horse like this is work him every time till his sides are heaving and the sweat's running down over his hooves and he gives up. Because when a horse gives out, because you've overworked him, they learn to give up and quit. And you never want to break a horse's heart. So this is a good thing. Now, the other thing we're working on is having him stand still. So what I would say would be a smart thing to do, now that he's had some exercise and he's maybe just a tiny bit tired, is pretty soon get off of him and get back on. Because while it's important to be able to get on the first time without having him walk off, you can build it so much easier later in the session. Because he's going to be dreaming of standing still, and he's also going to be more in the palm of your hand by then.
We got to get off now?
I would definitely say it's a good time to get off and get on again. Yeah, just give him a rub, you know, and tell him no hard feelings and hope he feels the same. Because all he's doing is what he thinks he can do. It's not even like he's trying to be ugly about it. He's just saying, well, I get to about there, I want to stop. And when he says go, well, I think I'll just go the other direction altogether. That's just what he thinks he can do. It's not that he even thinks of it as being bad. He's like a criminal defendant who's insane. They don't know right from wrong, so they can't really commit a crime. These horses, young horses, most of them don't know right from wrong. It's our job to teach them. Yeah, now, see how he is if you step up on him. Same thing though, start at the very beginning. Just raise your foot or your knee, put it on. All of those little steps. Don't assume that because he was pretty good the last time you can just go get on him.
He's definitely aware. He's looking at it. Getting a little better.
Yeah. The other thing is, you'll get smoother as you just ride more and get on and off more. He will also get better at understanding that, yeah, you're going to pull on him a little bit so he'll learn how to secure himself better.
Okay.
So let's ride him around, again, the same direction to start. See how he goes that direction.
See him trot or just let him walk around?
I would let him walk a little bit. Just remember, if he's going to quit you, it's going to be right around that zone there. So a couple of panels before, that's okay. Let him trot. That's all right. I like forward motion. We can do something with forward motion. And there you go. There you go. You got past it. He thought about pulling a knife, but he didn't. Now, when you get as far away from that bad zone as you can, just pick up and let him stop and stand.
Let him canter?
No, let him stop and stand. But not there. Make sure you go around one more time, and as soon as you get as far away as you can get from there, let him stop and stand. What you don't want to do is have him stop and stand there, where he wants to stop and stand. Right about here. Pick up and say, whoa. There you go. Now, while he's breathing a little bit, let's talk just a tiny bit about rein management and hand position. You've got the reins bridged, as you should. I'm going to stand on this side because I'm slowly learning that the camera can't see through me. So a bridged rein is what you've got. You've got the reins crossed over his neck. That's a real good way to do things, because if you were to drop your reins, you got a fighting chance of getting them back. Plus, you can feel both sides of his mouth with both hands that way a little bit. So you sort of have both hands working together.
More even.
More even, yeah. Now, what you want to do, you don't want to be punching yourself in the belly when you take a hold of the reins. So do some of your give and take by just extending or pulling back your arms instead of having a lot of slack. Because to him, this much slack right here is that much slack. Because he's not thinking about how much slack there is, he's thinking about, is there any pressure on my face at all? So you can sort of sort that out. And then what you want to do over time is to get real comfortable with juggling those reins within your hands, sort of shuffling them back and forth to where you can slide up. Like if you go like so, see, you take up, you let down, take up, you extend. Okay. And those are good reins. They got enough weight that they're not going to fly away in the breeze, but they're pliable. So those reins are good. So, and we could talk about rein management for an hour, but that's just a food for thought. You always want to have your hands in front of the saddle horn.
Okay.
Even if it's this much, that's okay. Where you don't, once you get back in here, you become exponentially less effective. Okay, let's take him around to the right and just see how he wants to be going around to the right.
I think this is it.
Yeah, he looks happy this way. And I'm just sort of sitting here kind of like a lazy slug, because I don't want to be throwing any body language at him at all. If I'd been a real smart guy, I wouldn't have even picked up the whip. But in case he does double back on you or something, I do have it handy. So pick yourself a good place, but not at that danger zone, and just pick up and stop it. Just pick up gently. Take a little pressure, wait till he stops. Wait till he stops. There, I'll release him. You can do all sorts of things like one rein stopping and bending your horse around, but he's far enough along and he's comfortable enough in the bridle, just taking that slack out. And what you'll find is he'll get quicker and quicker to stop. So a lot of times I'll be riding a colt. First time I pick up like that, they'll go the whole way around the pen and they'll finally stop moving. But then the second time, they go half the way around the pen and stop moving. And then eventually you want to get to where when you hold that, they stop and take one step backwards, and then you release. And that puts them on their back end. I would not insist on that or look for that just now. So why don't you move him off this direction? We ought to lope him this way. So, did you ask him to do that?
I did.
Huh?
I kicked a little bit.
Okay, no, if you kicked him, but don't, if you kicked him and you didn't ask him to come into me, send him back the other way. Well, I mean, the way you wanted him to go originally. So just loop him around to the, there you go, now step him up to a trot. He's much more forward this way. Much more forward this way. And just sort of bump him up to a lope. If he doesn't want to go, I'll help you a little. Really nice, really nice. That's good, just follow him like that. Because if he quits you, I'll remind him he shouldn't. Now when you get past that bad spot there, just pick up on the reins like you did and let him come to a stop from a lope. There you go, just hold him till he's straight. See, this colt really wants to stop. Did you feel him gather himself there? I mean, this is a horse that's bred to be a performance horse, and you know, he can do some shit, and that's a good thing.
Oh, I see that.
It's just that anything they have in their natural toolbox, they'll both use for you and against you. So you have to be prepared for that. But a big part of what your horse needs to do to learn is to do nothing. Because this is a big deal for him. He's breathing a little heavy. It's a warm day. He's starting to sweat. Number one, I don't want to get him all tired out and miserable. But number two, he's saying, well, when I do what this guy asks, it's a really good deal. And when I don't, that big, tall, awkward guy waves a big stick at me. And again, people, I used to look at my watch and I'd say, I'm going to sit still for 30 seconds or a minute. It's amazing how long that really is. Because most people who think they're sitting on their horse are sitting 15 seconds or less. I mean, they've got their feet stopped and there's an appreciable pause. But he needs to learn that when you ask him to stop and stand, he needs to. And you do that by teaching him it's a good thing. And right now he's completely agreeing with you on that. Because you've made it in his best interest to stop and air out. Now what we're going to do, we're going to move him off, same direction, but then you're going to tip his nose to the inside, and I'm going to help you steer him just a little.
Okay. It's going to be a little different.
Yeah, not to the outside, to the inside.
Okay. Let me start off walking.
Start off walking. If he jumps up to a trot, now see how he's coming into me? He's got that, so you want to send him away. Okay. So you really wanted him going the other direction. So I would take a second, get him stopped, and turn him the other direction. Just sort of sit there, take your time. Just go ahead and hold him, but let him find it. He's going to stick his head up in the air. He's going to get stiff, but after a bit, he's going to stop his feet. And then he's going to give. Yeah. Now tip his nose. There. Now why was that different? Because it's not just me standing in here with a stick. Think about that, chew on that for a little bit. Now just pick up on him and let him come to a walk. Take your time, don't even pull very hard. Just take the slack out of the reins. Make sure your reins are even. And just pick up on the reins and stop him. But take your time. Take your time. There you go.
That fast trotting's hard.
Yeah. Tip his nose to the inside. I'm going to help you turn him again. Use your outside leg, your left leg. Okay. Tip his nose to the inside. Okay, get him, just let him come down to a stop. Just sort of hold him till he comes down. Yeah, we don't want to lope the legs off of him, just sort of hold him. Let him come down and stop. Let him come down and stop. There. Now tip his nose to the right. Tip his nose to the right. Okay, double him around a little firmer to the right. There you go. Hang in there. Gather your body parts and hope they're all still attached. And just pick up on him and let him come to a stop. Just take your time. Just pick up both reins. Let him slow down and come to a stop. Slow down, come to a stop. Now, we don't necessarily want him to go off so strong, but we do want him to steer and move when you ask him to steer. So tip his nose to the right. There, now walk off. Or whatever he wants to do, but I don't want him getting stressed and feeling he has to trot off. So just when you get past this spot where he likes to stop, pick up and let him stop. Just pick up and let him stop. There you go. There you go. Now just tip his nose to the left. Now you know that's his tendency, that direction. So just find a place, just let him find his stop. Now just hold him right like that for an instant. Just hold him for just a second. Soon as he gives you his face, there, see that little bit? That wasn't anywhere near perfect, but it wasn't so braced. Now, wait, tip his nose pretty far to the left. Pretty far to the left. There you go. And just pick a good spot, pick up and let him stop again. Just hold him an instant. Don't pull anymore, just hold it right like it is. Just, he should probably start to soften up just a little. There, see that, it's very tiny. You could probably feel it better than we could see it, but what we don't want to do is teach him he already knows how to brace. They all start that way. But if you just hold him through it, there you go. See that little bit? It's not going to win you a prize, but it's the beginning. So tip his nose to the right. See if you can. I mean, when you take his nose to the right, take it to where you want him to go. In other words, take it around to where you're almost pulling towards your hip. I would get him at a walker or a standstill first. Yeah, that's nicer. Now, take that rein around to where he's doubled back a little bit. There you go. See the difference? See, you were leaving the door open to other options before.
Yeah, I was holding it too long.
Well, you were holding it a little bit, yeah, your rein was too long, and that let him blow through it. Now, at the walk, just tip his nose to the left. Tip his nose to the left. He's going to blow through you. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. And I did very little there. I just waved that stick at him just the tiniest bit. Now, while he's trotting around like that, just reach up and pat his neck. Yeah, just rub his neck. There. See, that's what he needed. Now, tip his nose to the right, enough that he has to turn. There. See the difference?
Yeah, I see that.
Now we're just going to see how it goes if I step out of the pen for a minute.
Fair warning. I have crappy hearing.
Oh, okay. Too many loud noises. Just reach up and rub his neck. Just reach up and rub his neck. There you go. Never hurts to reassure him a little. He wants to make sure you still love him. So tip his nose to the left, but remember, if you do it half-assed, he's going to blow through you. So tip his nose, go on through. Now go off the other direction. Don't run out of steam. So tip his nose to the right. Remember, if you do it halfway, there you go. That's success there. So, you know, you've got a handful of rods on this colt. He was starting to consider going down a path he shouldn't. But I think maybe you've got some tools to at least keep him, you know, on the path of righteousness, you might say, for a while. And I know some folks here who would gladly help you out with the lunge whip, although they can be revengeful. Okay, tip his nose to the left. Make sure you have him. There you go. Don't let him quit you. Soon as you think he's going to quit. Yep, because did you ever hear a steerage way in a ship? It means that there's a certain minimum speed then a large vessel has to be maintained before you can steer it anywhere. Horses have steerage way too. If they're not moving forward, they're just going to drift, just like that ship. So make sure he's going forward, tip his nose to the right, go off the other direction. That was real good.
Heck of a lot better than before.
I think we made some progress. Go ahead and tip his nose to the left. Remember, he may quit you. Bump, 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 bump. There you go. Now, find a good place, rub his neck, pick up on the reins, and let him stop. There you go. Now, we could keep on with him until he did something wrong, but I think we might be at a good place to tell him that we're stopping at a good note. Now, when you folks asked me to come over and visit, the biggest thing that I heard was he would get upset and he'd kick up his heels and buck a little bit. What did he not do one time today?
He didn't do any of that.
Now, why do you think he didn't buck?
Being a little more direct with him and not forcing him, he's doing it more on his own.
And the answer, because Ryan's fairly soft-spoken, is being a little more direct with him, not forcing the issue, but not just letting him have his own way. That's true, but the biggest thing that we did that's different, we made damn sure he was moving forward. And that that bucking and kicking up, when it's not out and out, committed buck the guy off bucking, usually it's because they don't want to go forward or they're uncertain going forward. So today he was real nice and forward and there was no bucking. If he gets stalled, he'll go right back into sin. I'm feeling real biblical today for some reason. It's a Sunday. So that was a really good session, Ryan. One thing you may want to do, I had you just sort of picking up and pulling him to a stop or holding him to a stop. With him, you may want to bend him around until he stops. Just because he seemed kind of lost when you did that.
That's kind of what I've been doing with him.
Yeah.
Just one range.
Yep. And there's some horses that take longer to get comfortable with two reins. And there, see that's good to do. I think from the higher speeds, it's not going to work right away with him. Now, one thing you don't want to do is stop here by the gate. Because this is a magnet. There. See that little move there that you did with him? You couldn't have done that half an hour ago. So just pick a place away from the gate to get off of him, kiss him right on the lips, and thank him. And we're done.
So, we come to the end of our session. Progress occurred as well as mistakes by all, myself included. As ever, the horse was the star performer. I've called out my mistakes and tried to own them as they occurred. Doubtless, there were many more. What will the future bring? Hard to say. Steady progress would be nice, but with minimal support, a lot can go wrong. Hopefully, this session will help Ryan and his nice young horse avoid those pitfalls. Fingers crossed.